West Ham round off our preparations for the new Premier League season with our final friendly of the summer against Italian giants Atalanta on Saturday afternoon at the London Stadium. West Ham begin our 21-22 campaign away at Newcastle United next Sunday, August the 15th, whilst Atalanta start their Serie A season away to Torino on August the 21st. Welcome back to West Ham United. Whilst you are here, please make sure you hit those thumbs up. Of course, if you're new around here, please hit that subscribe button and push our channel into the algorithm and let more West Ham fans know about it. And anyone who questions me whether I am West Ham and I'm wearing the stuff, I put the jumper on for you tonight. Earlier on, I've done a show and someone said, "Did you ever wear West Ham gear?" Yes, I do. However, I've gained a little bit of weight and I don't fit into much of my West Ham clothes anymore. So I'm squeezing myself into this top just for whoever it was that called me out earlier today. Anyway, I'm Anton, joined by Matt. Matt, Betway Cup final. Been a crazy pre-season, unbeaten West Ham, but we're coming up against the giants they call Atalanta.
100% hardest game we'll play in pre-season. And of course, it's the cup competition we made for ourselves that we never win.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can win a cup, we never win it.
Yeah.
No, it will be a hard test, which is what we need. Last game of the season. My Serie A isn't the best, but they are a quality team. The bits I've seen in the Champions League.
Well, I tell you what, mate. What did you just say there? Your what's not the best?
Serie A is not the best.
Well, I tell you what. I think it's maybe time to talk Atalanta. Let's take a look at the opposition. Everyone, please welcome Nick at Atalanta Passion is his Twitter handle. But Nick, welcome to the channel, mate. How are you?
Hey, Anton. Hey, Matt. I'm doing really well, guys. And I appreciate you calling us Giants of Italy, too, as well. That's a nice little intro for us. So I appreciate that. So
really cool. It's great to have you here, mate. I mean, we do regular preview shows and we always bring an opposition fan on. And, you know, you're going to be our first European competition fan coming in because West Ham obviously are in the Europa League, so it's really cool to get an opinion on the opposition team because we don't see a lot of the Serie A, as Matt said. But before we carry on, Nick, can you let everyone know, you know, first and foremost, if you don't mind, briefly, where you're from, why Atalanta, like you said to me beforehand, and, you know, where people can find you and where you talk about Atalanta as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm over in the States, as you can probably tell by my accent. I live in North Carolina. I've been an Atalanta fan for about 3 years now. Kind of a weird journey towards that. My lovely wife is from Colombia, and as you know, Atalanta's two of their best players are Colombian. So that's kind of how it started, and it just kind of started snowballing from there. And I'm at the point now where I have my Twitter handle. I have a blog I run, atalantapasion.com. I host a podcast with another U.S.-based Atalanta fan who's actually also a West Ham supporter too. Shout out to Dan. Yeah, and so we do a weekly podcast, and we're a small community, but it's strong among English speakers, and we try to grow it as much as we can. So. Mm-hmm.
Yep, excellent. Sorry, we've got another person trying to come in, but do not end this stream if you're there having your dinner. Do not end this stream like you normally do. Nick, before we get into the nitty-gritty of Atlanta, I've put this little video together to give people a little bit more knowledge. A new thing we're going to be doing for the new season, which is Who Are You? Who Are You? So we're taking a look at the opposition, Atalanta.
All right.
Now, I hope I got some of that information right, if not all of the information right there, Nick. But one of the things I took from that is the amount of goals that you score. What's the deal there?
Yeah, it's wild. That's the club's mantra almost, is just attack, attack, attack sometimes, and you don't know who's going to be getting forward, and you have to pretty much look to mark everyone, let alone a striker. You have to be looking at central defenders. You have to be looking at wing backs. You just have to make sure that nobody's just sneaking in the box there to get on the end of a pass or a cross to just slot one in the back corner or something like that. So goals can come from almost anywhere. And as you illustrated with that fact, third most goals in like the top 5 leagues in the past 3 years. It's weird. Atalanta scored 90 goals in Serie A last year, 8 less than they scored the year previous, and it didn't feel like we scored a lot of goals for some reason, even though we still put 90 through. So great attack. The defense can be suspect sometimes as a result when you're playing such a high octane offense, but it's the offense still outweighs sometimes the shakiness of the defense. So it all works out in the end.
That's a crazy amount of goals to score, though, Matt, isn't it? It's something that West Ham would cry out for. Yeah. But Nick, you pointed out, obviously, and I'll bring this one to you, Matt, as well. You know, by scoring so many goals, it means you commit men forward, which has sometimes a negative impact on your defence thing. But Matt, when it comes to the game tomorrow, for example, you know, it's going to be a close test in terms of it's the closest team we're going to put out to what we expect to start against Newcastle. So it's going to be a big test for West Ham, especially against a club who scores so many goals.
It is going to be a hard game tomorrow, because you probably think we've been built on counter-attacking, and as Nick just said, Atalanta are built on just all-out attack. So is this going to be just one-way traffic, and we're trying to sit back and counter and can't get out? Are we going to find ways to contain them? It's going to be a big chess match, and I can see it being a lot of goals, I'll be honest. I could see Moyes just going for it as well and just leaving it all out there. I could see him throwing caution to the wind tomorrow, because, you know, it's not a league game. It is a friendly.
Yeah.
Maybe you might just see all out attack from one end to the other, like a basketball game non-stop. It's going to be a fun game for a neutral.
Well, Matt, you've done a little bit of research, I think, and we'll ask you, Nick, as well. There's a few players that have gone out the door as of late, and I think one was only literally announced about an hour ago or two. Who are they, Matt? And we'll go over to Nick.
Is it Christian? Is it Romero?
That's right. Yeah.
You sold? Is it 2 players to Tottenham? The goalkeeper as well.
As well. Yep. Christian Romero and Pierluigi Golini left maybe 10 days ago. It was his official signing date on loan to Tottenham. Yeah.
So what impact will that have on your season in particular, Nick?
So with Golini, it's not bad, because we brought in Juan Musso, who was Udinese's goalkeeper prior, and by all intents and purposes, most people consider him an upgrade to Golini. So I think in that area we'll be a little more fortified at the back. But Romero is definitely the big loss, and I think that everyone is kind of, I think, a little polarized on how it's going to be without him. He stormed onto the scene last year in his first year with Atalanta. He won Serie A Defender of the Year, and he really became like the enforcer at the back for us. But at the same time, I can't blame the club for wanting to basically triple the investment after 1 year of a player. We brought in a replacement already, Mera Demiral. He signed a couple hours ago. That was just announced as well. He's kind of, it's almost deja vu. He's kind of expected to be the next Romero. He came from Juventus. He's coming on loan to the same club. Didn't have a lot of playing time with Juventus. So is it just going to be the same carousel again, where we see him just blossom in the same type of system? I think it's to be determined yet with him, because he's had some serious injury problems in the past, but we're still really excited about that. And then we brought in another youngster named Matteo Lovato as well at the back. So I think those guys can probably they can't replace what Romero did, but I think we can get close, especially with Musso at the back to help fortify at least the everything inside the 6-yard box in goal.
It seems to be, though, that you at Atalanta have a really good youth setup. You know, when you do a little bit of research into Atalanta and their background, the biggest thing that comes out of it is they've ranked like in the top 10 pretty much in the world for youth systems. For the scouting network seems to be the big deal, and it's something that we as West Ham fans talk about a lot. You know, we renowned internationally for having a good academy, but something that we can't do and have never really done is being able to sell our best players and invest that money wisely. I take it Atalanta can do that, and can recognize when it's time for a player to leave, but invest that money in a couple of players like you've mentioned, Demiral and Lovato. Is that the kind of path that Atalanta are going to go down?
I think so. And I don't know if you guys are American football fans, but Bill Belichick always says it's better to sell a player a year too early than too late. And I think Atalanta does that almost to a T. And as you mentioned with the youth system, it's elite. It's probably, if not the best one, if it's not the best, one of the best in Italy. But interestingly, you'll see our squad, you'll see our starting 11. None of them have come up through the youth system. The youth system really has become not just a feeder for smaller clubs and smaller leagues in Italy, but also we sell off our players to the bigger clubs. We sold Kulusevski to Juventus for 40 million. He barely played with Atalanta. We sold Diallo to Man United last January. Again, he played maybe 4 matches for us. And then Alessandro Bastoni is a little older example, but he came up through the youth ranks, never actually played with the senior squad, but we sold him off to Inter for over 30 million. So that's kind of what the youth system is almost more of a fountain of cash to then go out and scrape Europe and South America for good scouting prospects. And then that's where you'll see a lot of the players in our starting 11 now. They're just really small purchases that we got from the Eredivisie or the Belgian league. Oftentimes less than 5 million euros for a transfer fee or something like that. And they've just grown and blossomed with the team to where they are now.
Absolutely. Matt, anything you want to add?
No, I was about to ask about like the South American. I know because it's weird because in England we don't seem to give much of a look to South America. Where you see like a lot in Italy, they get a lot, like not just the league in general gets a lot of their players from there. And I always look at them and think it's a smaller market, like a cheaper market. You see lots of deals for these players, and it's like 3, 5, 7, 12 million. It's never big fees, and they always seem to adapt. But maybe it's something we need to tap into. It seems like Atalanta and Serie A in general have a really good hold on that market, and you always seem to be able to find gems to bring through, like you said, and make money on. What's the consensus with the fans though? Are they happy that this is like the way you work, that you bring the youth through to sell and then buy from abroad? Like as us as fans, we only have like one player we sold recently last season, Diangana. We made him about 18 million for him, and there was a big uproar that we're selling our youth players to fund other players.
Yeah. I won't speak for the Italians because I don't know their sentiments 100%, but I think winning helps to squelch a lot of negative opinions that could come from anything that you might throw out there. So that certainly helps. And I think it's just kind of a cyclical thing right now because even 5 years ago, there were a lot of youth prospects and Italians in general that were coming through Atalanta and were getting us to the point that where we are now. And I think we're almost at the point where we might be back to that circle where you start seeing a more influx of Italians with the squad specifically, not just the ones that we signed with Lovato, and we have a guy named Giuseppe Pizzella that we have on loan from Parma, but just guys coming through the youth system now. Roberto Piccoli is a youth system product. We have another guy named Alessandro Cortinovis, Daniel Scalvini. These are all guys that they're not ready to crack the senior squad yet necessarily, maybe Piccoli, but in 2 or 3 years' time, if we don't sell them off, they seem like they could absolutely be starters in a competitive squad as well. So I think we're kind of getting back to that other side of the pendulum a little bit with the squad.
Let's talk about your manager then, Gianpiero Gasperini. Been there.
Gasperini.
Look at that, Gasperini. Look at my spelling mistake. Really annoyed. 2016 to present. He's obviously an attacking-minded manager with the amount of goals that you score. How do you, as fans, rate him? And in preparation for the game tomorrow, how serious do you see it? I mean, am I correct in saying that Atalanta have gone straight through to the group stages of the Champions League for next season? And how big a season is this coming up for you guys?
Yeah, they're through to the group stages already, so they don't no qualification that they have to worry about in August for that, fortunately. But Gasperini he's he's just brought so much consistency to Atalanta, who classically been a yo-yo team, just going back and forth between Serie A and Serie B. And ever since he's gotten here in 2016, I think the lowest they finished in Serie A is 7th place. So just from a results standpoint, everybody loves him from that. And just I think that attacking desire that he brought to the club, it makes it an enjoyable team to watch, not just for supporters, but neutrals as well. And he's just kind of been a staple of Italy. Italy likes to recycle coaches all throughout a bunch of teams. He's been at a few places as well, including Genoa, Palermo, and he had a disastrous 6-game stint at Inter that Inter fans are still bitter about, and I think Gasperini is a little bitter about, and he likes to throw shade when he has the chance about it. So, but this year it's a big year for Atalanta, even without Christian Romero. Atalanta, they're not favorites to win the league. They're contenders, certainly. Even the betting sites I was looking at, they have them ranked 3rd from an odds standpoint about who would actually win the league. So there still is an outside shot that they could raise that Scudetto, especially with whatever happens with Lukaku and Inter. If he actually goes to Chelsea, that just depletes their roster a little more. And kind of makes the route maybe a little easier. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think there's good ambition for the club this year. That top 4 is probably the goal. And then I would say getting out around the group stages of Champions League as well would be the goal, and getting to the round of 16.
Excellent. When it comes to the game tomorrow, there's the famous Betway Cup, Nick. I don't know if you know much about it, but we'll explain to you. It's a cup that West Ham designed and made up, and we have never won it. So, they always play this fixture the week before the season starts. This is what it's become accustomed to. It's the last final game before we go into our competitive part of the season. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be, as I said at the start, maybe one of the closest teams we'll see within reason to the game that we'll see for the following week against Newcastle. So you're probably going to come up against a reasonably competitive starting 11. How do you think Gasperini will? Have I pronounced that again? Have I done that wrong?
That's right.
Pronunciation?
Yeah. Gasperini. Yep, that's right.
Gasperini. How do you think he'll kind of function? We're going to have. It looks like we're talking about 35,000 fans are going to be in the stadium tomorrow. Matt, I'm not sure if you're going. Did you decide to get a ticket or not for this game tomorrow?
I'm still deciding. I might just go tomorrow.
All right, because I think they're we're not. It's not going to be a sellout. I think the first sellout is going to be the Leicester game which is our first home game of the season. So there's not been a humongous uptake in tickets, but I think there's an element of fans that are maybe a little bit worried not because of some maybe from the COVID regulations, but also about how you get into the stadium, how long it takes, and are waiting to hear the feedback from that. I don't think there's any away fans coming into the stadium tomorrow that I believe. However, knowing West Ham, there's probably going to be some fans getting in there somehow that are going to be wearing the Atalanta tops on. But Nick, when it comes to the game tomorrow, do you see Gasperini putting out a strong team, or do you think there's going to be a lot of changes made and changes made at halftime, etc.?
I think he'll try to be competitive. I think the fact that you said there's going to be 35,000 fans there, I think regardless of what the match is, who the opponent is. This is the first time, in maybe a year and a half that either of these clubs, I guess besides Euros for some of the players, that have seen that many fans in the stands for a long time. So I think regardless, the juices are just going to be flowing for all the players, and they'll be amped up. From a lineup standpoint, Atalanta's still in a little bit of flux. We just brought Demiral in. I highly doubt he'll play. I think the team's probably in London already, so I don't even know if he's in London. But there's also a few guys we still have injured. I know Ruslan Malinovsky, who is now our main offensive output. I think he's still coming over a hernia injury, I think, that he suffered in Euros. So I don't anticipate him playing. And then Josip Ilicic, who was kind of like, we call him the wizard of Slovenia, or the king of Slovenia sometimes. He just is a magician with the ball at times. There's a lot of animosity right now with him in the Atalanta brass, and it's likely that he'll be transferred out. So I don't think he's in the starting lineup or even on the squad list for the game. So from an attacking standpoint, I think you'll probably see the Colombians. You'll see Mateo Pessina, who scored 2 goals in the Euros, and then Alexei Miranchuk, who actually scored a goal as well in the Euros. So there's still going to be, more or less people who are rotation players that are going to be up front. as well as in the back. Like our midfield and our defense hardly changes, so you'll see the same guys in the back five or the back seven, I guess, if you include the midfield, that are always going to be there. So I think we'll go for it. I think we'll try to keep the streak going of you guys never winning a Betway Cup. Is my guess. But,
I mean, listen, we've never actually faced each other at all in our history of in existence. So it will be nice to at least get that one notched up. I'm not going to lie to you though, Nick. You know, the amount of, after doing a bit of research into Atalanta and their style of play going forward, their attacking ability. There's the odd time as a West Ham fan I've always wanted and wished that we just go for it sometimes. And maybe you're a prime example of a team that have gone for it. I don't know how many goals you conceded last year, but is it a case of you're outscoring the amount of goals you concede in order to win games?
Pretty much. We gave up 47 or 48 last year, so it's a differential of 43, which is good differential. I think it was second in the league still, but it was the goals allowed was probably fifth or sixth. So there are definitely our teams with stingier defenses in Atalanta, but our offense is sometimes our best defense. If we just hold the ball and give so much pressure to the opposition in their half, then there's less defense against the counterattack that we have to do. So that helps, I think, to aid with some shaky positioning and defense sometimes.
Last couple of questions for you then, Nick. I was going to ask you for your predictions, but loads of people in the chat are asking the question. I don't know about your knowledge of Serie A in general, but West Ham today have been linked for several weeks for a player that plays for Fiorentina, Milinkovic. And I don't know if you've got a good knowledge of him, and if you do, would you mind giving us a little bit of a brief thoughts on him?
Yeah, sure. He's very young. He's I think he's only 22.
23,
22, 23. Okay. He honestly, when Atalanta plays Fiorentina, it seems like we pepper goals on them all day. It's not a testament to Milinkovic, because I think he's really good. It just seems like cohesively their defense sometimes is very shaky and susceptible to a lot of things when Atalanta goes up against them. But Milinkovic himself I think he can be the real deal. He's a lot like Demiral. He's raw. I think he needs better focus from a mentality standpoint, and better decision making, the ability to read the game, etc. Obviously, this is just me watching him maybe 5 or 6 times, so I don't have a strong answer as a Fiorentina fan. But that's kind of what I've gotten from him when I've seen him. A lot of potential there, and for the prices I've been hearing, I've been hearing less than 20 million euros. I think that's good. That's good business for a player of his potential caliber that he could bring.
Yeah, really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Nick. Matt, before we ask Nick his predictions, I'm going to ask you about one particular player. I don't know if you know much about West Ham, but there's lots of people talking about it. The matchup of Antonio, the unpredictability, and what I'm quite excited to see tomorrow as a West Ham fan is how European teams handle the likes of a player, the how they can adapt to marking a player who's so unpredictable in his style of play in Mikel Antonio. So I don't know if you know too much about him, Nick, and what's your kind of thoughts related to West Ham? If you don't know, it's cool.
He's your striker, right? He's your 9.
Yeah. He's not a natural striker. He was made into a striker, and he's done well. So yeah.
Okay, because I don't catch a lot of Premier League, but I think I have seen. I think maybe did he score against Man City last year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I watched that game and I saw him score. I'm like, okay, but it'll be interesting. It'll be a good test at the back for our new guys, because it's a brand new back three that never have played together before. I take that back. They could go with the back three that played 2 years ago that were the starters, but it'll be interesting to see, because if you're talking about a guy who's unpredictable, we have defenders who do unpredictable things all the time too. It's like, I don't know how that's working, and they'll either butt heads or they'll go in different opposite directions kind of thing, and then a guy will just squeak right through on goal. But I don't know. It'll be a good test, I think, for our defense to go up against a guy who's not like a natural target man with his back to the goal, or just some guy that sneaks in like a poacher. But
of course, no, 100%. Well, listen, Nick, before you go, what is your predictions for the Betway Cup? I can't even call it a final, even though it is a final, because we've not worked hard to get there. But West Ham currently are unbeaten in pre-season. Atalanta are unbeaten in preseason also. So what's your predictions for the big game tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah, Atalanta, they're unbeaten. I think they've only scored 3 goals combined in their last 2 preseason matches.
What's going on?
It has me a little worried, but the Colombians weren't there yet. You're foolish not to bet both teams to score whenever Atalanta plays, so that's definitely going to happen, I think. I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to go with a draw. Unless are there penalties for this?
Actually, I don't actually know if we've ever
There are.
Are they? Yeah. Penalties, yeah. I mean, it's like it's really what we call the Mickey Mouse Cup, if I'm being brutally honest. But like I said, it's the Mickey Mouse Cup. We don't win, so there's a good chance that Atalanta are going to walk away with this cup that's made up to try and win games. But anyway, hey ho.
I'll go 2-2. Then Atalanta takes it 4-3 in penalties.
That's what we call a Desmond here, Nick. That's what we call a Desmond. So if it's 2-2, we call it a Desmond. But Freshfielder, we're going to come on to our predictions in a minute. But you're saying 5-4. But I mean, after talking to you, Nick, I'm a bit fearful of. Are the Colombians back? Are they ready to rock and roll, or are they still got a bit of time off?
They're training. They're back in training.
Right.
Just a matter of if they'll feature or not. I think basically with the lack of options due to some small injuries, I think they will play.
Yeah. Cool. Mm-hmm. Nick, listen, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much, and hopefully somehow in the near future we can work together again and do some more kind of content, etc. But enjoy the game. Are you going to be watching it?
I believe so. I think I'm not positive, but I think Atalanta might have a stream up on their YouTube feed. So that might be the way we watch it here in the States. So I'm going to try my darndest to do it. It'll be fun. So it's been a couple months without some club football, so I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Listen, thank you very much for joining us. Myself and Matt are going to go off on a crazy West Ham tangent. Right, take it easy and stay safe, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, guys. Thanks, Anton and Matt.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
A lot.
Thank you.
Wow, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Quite possibly one of my favourite ones so far, and it's only a pre-season friendly. And Matt, you text me today, just to everyone that's watching, Matt texted me today saying, "Are you struggling for an away fan, Anton?" And I could tell through his tone. I could tell through your tone, mate. I could tell through your tone.
Just like, you know what? You're not going to find an Italian YouTuber that's going to come on an English channel and talk about Atalanta. So I was like, oh, you're just going to be struggling.
Yeah, well, he's not.
He's
actually not on YouTube. He's a podcaster, and I think we'll put the link in the description below as well, and let you know that. But I'll pull up all the trumps, mate. I'll get you one. I'll get you a Dundee fan if you want a Dundee fan. I'll get you, anything you want. I'll get you. So it's going to be, as the season goes on, it'll be interesting to see who we get in the Europa League, so I'll have to keep trying working hard to bring on an opposition fan. But for everyone that's watching, I will work hard and do that for you guys. And like I said, if you are watching, please hit that thumbs up. I know social media and YouTube world's a very busy place this evening, but we're going to bring you the preview and we're going to stick with it, and we're going to do the night before and we're going to stick with it, and that's what we've got to do. So please hit that thumbs up, of course, and if you're new around here, go and get subscribing to the channel, and that's for you. So, Matt, let's talk about West Ham, mate. I've not had a chance to actually upload the new videos for West Ham, but Betway Cup, mate, closest team to what we're going to see for the new season. Are we going to see the likes of Declan Rice, Soufal, Souček, Hammer of the Year, of course, Soufal, signing of the year, of course, Declan Rice winning no award for the first time in 4 seasons. Unless you count the performance of the season award, etc. But what do you think?
I don't think Rice will play. I think Souček and Soufal will play. I think they've been back a couple of weeks now, so they've probably had enough actual training to play. I think Rice has been back a week.
Yes, he came back on Tuesday, was it? No, it's Tuesday. Yeah, there he is, man himself, back in training.
Last week, I said I thought maybe Souček and Soufal would get run out. Haven't been back a week. They got nothing. They weren't in the squad. On that basis, I'm going to say nothing for Rice. I think Souček and Soufal will be involved. I think Areola must be involved because he wasn't in the squad last game. Yeah. That was his first week. So he's now had 2 weeks, the same as Souček and Soufal. So
we'll see. So on the Areola situation, and I'll put this question to everyone that's watching as well. whatever keeper gets the nod tomorrow, do you think that's the intention for the Premier League?
First game at least, yes.
Right, okay. And so on that basis, mate, who do you think will start the game tomorrow? And I'm asking that to everyone in the chat. Is it going to be Fabianski or Areola?
For me, Areola. For me.
Right, okay. Why?
Because we need to plan for the future. We need to look to the future.
Yeah.
And I'm not being funny. For me, as soon as they brought Areola in, I know they've got the loan with the obligation to the option to buy, but that's just spreading finances. He's the number one now for the next 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
Keepers play well into their mid to late 30s. I mean, I think by the end of this season, Fabianski will be 37. I don't think he's going to start. Yeah, I think that's why they're trying to see if they can offload Randolph. I think he is, he literally is now number 3 goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I think Fabianski will be number 2. I think especially if we go to the back end of last season, there was a couple of times, I think I can definitely remember one of them being the West Brom game. I can't remember what the other game was, and he pulled up before the game in the warm-up, didn't he? Fabianski.
Yeah.
I think one of them was definitely the West Brom game.
Yeah, for his kicks, because we all know he's got. There's definitely a slight niggle there with his leg and his kicking, etc. But the thing about Areola potentially playing is the fact that he's not played any game time yet, unless you count the behind the closed doors friendly where the club played each other, and he has been looking impressive in training. But he's not played a reasonably competitive game yet for West Ham. And tomorrow will be a test. But a lot of people in the chat are saying, we'll put them both in. We'll probably see the best of both of them each half.
I think you'll see 45 minutes of each.
Yeah.
But I think you might be right in that who starts first will start.
Yeah.
I got a feeling Coventry will start tomorrow. And I think that might be because he's going to be on the bench. He might be the only one I think might start that won't maybe start.
Yeah, okay.
I think,
and are you basing that then? I mean, we're going to go through. Everyone in the chat's obviously giving me your opinion on Fabianski and Areola. We'll go through the team in a minute, but what I want to do is kind of show you some images from training that have popped out over the last couple of days, and it's good news, I suppose you could say, is Ogbonna is back in training with the actual first team squad, which is positive. That's good. That's good to see. I don't know if it's going to be too early for Atalanta, and we're hearing through the grapevine that it may be that he is going to be rested for that game in preparation for the Newcastle.
That's what your mate Sean says. Which, you know what? To be fair though,
the funny thing is, hold on a minute. The funny thing is, that's actually not right. That's actually probably putting 2 and 2 together. And realising he's back in training, his age, his hamstring injuries, his injuries he's been getting over the last couple of seasons. He's been our strongest defender. And you probably want your strongest player to start, your strongest 11 to start. And therefore, do you run the risk of him pulling up against Atalanta or resting him if his fitness levels are up there and playing him against Newcastle when we're probably going to need him firing on all cylinders? Because, I mean, is Moyes comfortable and does he have the confidence in Diop? No, in Diop though. I mean, Diop's done well in pre-season, but has he got the full-blown confidence?
Dawson's alongside him, so you've still got someone there to command.
Yeah.
You know what? The funny thing is, I wouldn't play Ogbonna. I would rest him.
Yeah.
I don't.
Thank you very much, Nick, for joining us. A real pleasure, mate. Everyone really enjoyed it. Everyone's even commenting as well. So thank you very much for joining us, Nick.
Yeah, great guest. Thanks for coming on, Nick. I mean, even we go back to last season. Was it the Newcastle game? He came in and he had no time and he just got back from injury, had 1 week's training. They chucked him back in. I think Moyes knows what players he can trust to be reliable, and I think he knows Ogbonna is reliable. So I don't think he's going to be worried about Ogbonna getting the match sharpness. Diop is someone that does need it. But we saw that every time he came in last year. When Diop come back in the team last year, it took him 1 or 2 or 3 games to get going. And then when he had the run of games and the match sharpness got up, he started performing better. So
yeah,
I've got to think especially if there's any sort of inclination that Ogbonna may not be fit, I think he won't risk him and give Diop that game time so that if Diop does have to step up next week against Newcastle,
Yep.
he's fit. I mean, saying that, I know we're not doing Newcastle preview today, but grapevine.
I know. Well, no. Hold that thought. Yeah. Well, no. You can see it. I suppose you can see it.
That Sam Maxim and Callum Wilson are both not playing.
Yep. Expected to be out for up to 9 days. So.
Fingers crossed. Fingers
crossed. You got to keep the fingers crossed for that. Another player that's back from injury and is training with the first team squad is that man, King Arthur Masuaku. Positive sign, good sign, and lets West Ham fans know that we're nearly up to full strength in the squad.
He's one I might expect to. I think he'll get game time.
Yeah,
because it looks like we may not be bringing a left back in, so. He's going to need game time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't rely just on Creswell,
Well, I tell you what, then, mate. Let's go down the route of giving you the fans. Yeah, let's try and pick a team. Let's try and pick a team based on pre-season and who's available and who we think's available. So start putting your starting 11 in for the game against Atalanta, and there's probably going to be quite a few changes and differences in opinions, and that's fully expected. But let's start dissecting the team. So we'll go in goal, Matt. I mean, I think you've kind of alluded to the fact that you're going to go with what do you call him, Areola in goal.
Yep.
Yeah. And just for the sake of making it a little bit easy, mate, I may join you putting Areola in goal as well. What formation do you think he's going to go out with? Because I mean, earlier in the season, from the start of last season, mate, he played 5 at the back, and then we ended up switching formations to 4. Do you think the formation we're going to see tomorrow is what we may see moving forward for the Newcastle game?
I do, but I'd also hang on what you just said about the different formations. I think when Moyes first came in and we were in that relegation battle, Moyes just basically picked one team and one formation. He'd done that at the start of last season, because we had the Carabao Cup, which he may do again this year. He may have a cup team and a league team.
Yeah.
So maybe Areola doesn't start. Maybe he's brought Areola in and he's going to say, for now, you're the cup goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I would start him. But he had 2 formations, didn't he? He had the back 4 and the back 5, and he picked it based on the team we're playing.
Okay.
And going against Newcastle, I would think he'd play the back 4.
Okay, so we're basing that on the Newcastle game, but Atalanta is the game tomorrow. So do you think we're going to see something similar?
You've got to bring some sort of momentum through. So
yeah,
if we're saying tomorrow is going to be the team for the Newcastle, that's where I was going with this. It's going to be tomorrow is the team that we expect almost entirely to start against Newcastle. Then tomorrow would be the back 4 to play on the game for Newcastle.
So let's go with left back then.
I think he starts with Creswell.
Yep.
And I think at some point Masuaku will come on.
Okay, I agree with that.
I reckon he might bring him on and then shift to a back 5.
Yeah.
He done that. Was it last week? The game last week? Brentford game, he started with a back 4 and then went to back 5 in the second half. So he could do that again.
Yep.
To try and get some time for Masuaku. But yeah, Creswell to start.
Centre-half pairing?
And what's available?
Dawson and Diop. Yeah, I agree. I think that will be the centre-half pairing. Please, again, like I said, if you're watching, get your comments in and let us know who you think will start as well. Right back position?
I think Soufal will get the nod.
You think he will get the nod on the basis of the fact that he's been back and he needs
the fitness for next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
He needs the game time.
Absolutely. Let's get into the midfield then. Who are we going with in the left position?
What, the winger?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Fornals.
Fornals? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Followed by Souček?
Yes.
Middle? Yep. Who else beside him?
I'm going to say Coventry.
Okay, it's a big statement. And then on the right?
I hope it's Coventry, but it wouldn't surprise me if he put Noble in. I don't think Rice will get any game time.
And are we going to go with Bowen?
Yes.
Excellent. And then forward?
Benrahma in behind Antonio.
So let's take a look at the starting 11 that Matt has put up there for everyone to see. Matt is going with Areola with a 4-4-2. Creswell, Dawson, Diop, Soufal. Sorry, I should say it's Soufal, and I need to start pronouncing it like that because he was on the West Ham channel and the player awards there, announcing and telling people how to pronounce his name as well.
Soufal.
So it's Soufal.
Forget the U. It's Sifal. Soufal.
Yeah. Fornals on the left. Souček as well. Coventry, Bowen on the right, Benrahma in behind Antonio. What do you think, everyone, from that? I mean, the only player there really I might think that we might not see start the game is Coventry, and my team would be, the only difference there would be this player. I'm going to bring him in right now. Let me just get that in there. And it is Lanzini. I think he's played his part this pre-season, and I think it's going to be a big year for him. I really, really do think big thing. I think we're going to see maybe a little bit of the best of Lanzini this year. I think we're going to big season from Bowen and a big season from Benrahma, of course. Now, listen, Matt, if we get something from Lanzini this season, that will be in theory like a new signing as such.
Yeah, I mean, you go on the rumours today. We're talking to 2 centre backs.
Yeah,
and people are basically going 2 and 2 and saying, well, if we sign 2 centre backs, we're not going to bring in a position somewhere else. And there's also the rumour today that Moyes has knows Coventry's not going out on loan, he's staying. So with Lanzini and Coventry both in there, it makes me think that he's happy with that the centre mid position of, because you've got Souček and Rice, and then you've got Noble, Lanzini, and Coventry.
Yeah,
and it does mean that he can change the team based on who we're playing. So, you know what? Given the fact that we're playing Newcastle next week, it could quite conceivably be Lanzini. He may want that guy that's going to sit deeper and have time
on the ball and play. Because I think with Lanzini sitting in that deeper position, I don't deny for a second that he has given the ball away a few times. However, what he has done in a progressive manner has been better and has outweighed his faults so far. Yet, do you know what, Matt? It's pre-season, so if you're going to have faults, that's when you would rather have those faults and learn from those mistakes.
Yep.
So I do think, because we have seen Lanzini playing in that deeper role, will see that. I think we'll get to see Noble tomorrow. I don't doubt for a second we'll get to see Noble tomorrow. A bit like what Matt's saying, I wonder if it's too early just to get a little bit of game time under his belt with Declan Rice. But if he's involved at all, you're talking like 15 minutes. Yeah.
And I think that's a push.
Let's look at Dan Palmer's team. Areola, Soufal, Dawson, Diop, Creswell. So it's in agreement with us. Rice, he's going with Rice, which I don't think will happen. Souček, Benrahma, Fornals, Bowen, Antonio, give Oggy and King Arthur 25 minutes. For Sheezy,
you know what?
It's going Fabianski, Soufal, Dawson, Diop, Creswell, Souček, Rice, Bowen, Benrahma, Fornals, and Areola. Oh, love it, Fo. Love it, mate. Love it. Danny Jackson, Areola, Crest, Diop, Dawson, Soufal, Souček, Noble, Benny, Fornals, Bowen, Antonio. 7-2-1 formation tomorrow. Gary Rutter's saying Arthur will come on at the second half. We are. Trev Trube is saying it makes sense to let Coventry continue his worth. He's done really well so far. Hope we don't loan him out, especially with the lack of transfers. I think Moyes is from P. Gads. I think Moyes will start with 3 at the back and then change it into a 4. George is saying, why not Rice? He needs game time. I mean, I don't know, mate. We could be surprised with it. I think it's just the fact he's only come back from international duty, or his holiday, I should say, on Tuesday. So he's only had...
I'm basing it on the fact that last week, obviously, Souček and Soufal came back. And then I said they might get game time against Brentford, and they got nothing. They went on the bench. And they had him back a week. So on that basis, I think we might see Rice not getting game time. Although, look, I don't think he's going to play against Newcastle. I think he's going to be on the bench against Newcastle. I think the week after we might see Rice in the team. I'm saying about Masuaku, I was saying he might come on for Creswell, but actually it wouldn't surprise me either if he came on maybe with Fornals in the second half.
Yeah,
and gave an option to the left winger, because we've seen Johnson doing it a lot on the right hand side, haven't we? As that playing further forward. So
absolutely.
Who let him in the chat? Who
I
let
don't
him
know,
in?
mate. I mean, listen, he's out for dinner with his missus, and he's on his phone, mate. He is on his phone still.
Don't get in trouble
She
with
must
Janet.
be, but she must be sitting there thinking, looking across the table, thinking, "What are you doing? Put it down. Leave it alone." Like he took me on holiday with him. Like it's weird. Honestly, Matt, he took us on holiday with him, and it's very, very, very odd.
Mate,
He
you
needs
can't get enough of
to.
it. He misses you. That's what it
He
is.
does, mate. But do you know what he needs to do? He needs to calm down, relax himself, and get prepared for the show we've got coming up later on. Apparently, we're doing another show, a late show. If you're kicking about, Matt, maybe you can join us as well. But
Yeah, I had a nap earlier, so I'm definitely going to sleep early tonight.
People don't think you're well, Matt. People keep asking if you're okay.
So I got tonsillitis.
Oh no, here he comes. Please don't. Save yourself for the show later. Save yourself for the show
You're not
later.
having dinner. Get off the phone.
Are you having dinner? He's on.
Look at him. Can you even hear us?
I am. I'm at dinner with the missus.
Well, get off the phone then. What are you doing?
Get off the phone. She's raging with you. Why are you on the phone? Why are you on the phone? Get off the phone.
Why are you talking? I'm just trying to save the viewers from listening to the.
Oh, we can't. I can't be bothered listening to him. He's on his dinner. Exactly. Look at the comments. Poor Lenny. Lenny, I feel so. Lenny, I am sorry. It's nothing to do with me. He's obsessed. If you can hear me, I'm so sorry, Lenny.
Can you hear it? Yeah. Lenny's sort of like shaking her head.
Yeah.
Well, it's nothing to do with.
What are you doing? You're out for dinner.
Look at that. Like everyone's saying, get off.
Go away,
get off.
Stel.
See, no one wants you here, Stel. No one wants you here. Bye, Stel. Bye. Oh, love it. He's just he's a donut. Listen, let's get on to the nitty gritty then. We've talked about the teams that we think will go out. Let's go on to the score predictions. You know, it's the last game of pre-season. So, what do you think the predictions will be? And while you're in the chat there, start putting your predictions in the chat, and we'll go through them as well. Still, don't be ending the broadcast.
You know what? I'm actually going to go with Nick on this. Actually, I'm going to go for Desmond. Are
you really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Goals.
And then we'll probably lose on penalties because we don't do penalty shoot as well.
Yeah. What was the Betway Cup last year?
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth
got absolutely spanked, didn't we?
Was it 5-2,
5-3,
5-2 or something like that? I mean, it's got the potential again, mate. You know, fans back in the stadium. After listening to Nick and looking into Atalanta, they score goals. And how coincidental would it be if they score goals and then Foshizi gets the score right? 1-0 to Atalanta. But I can see goals in this game, mate. I can see goals in this game. Yeah, and I'll maybe go. Do you know what? I'm going to join. Someone else put it in there. I think, did they? Let me see if they did. Yeah, they did. I'm going to join you, De Pablo, and say 3-3. That's what I'm going to go for. What did you say, Matt? 2-2, Desmond.
Yeah.
Steve House saying 3-2, West Ham. Peter Quadruple X is saying 5-2. I'm assuming that's to West Ham. Peter, mate. Reese is saying 2-1 West Ham. Creswell free kicking, and Creswell belting in a corner to the head of Milinkovic. He is drunk. He is, mate. Atalanta 1-0. That's the one we want to see from you because you always go for the opposites. Freshfielder 5-4 Atalanta. What a treat people are in for if that happens. 2 each from Kimbo. Oliver Lee 2-0 West Ham. Still look after the wife. That's what we keep saying to him. Gary Rutter, Desmond. Mark R 2-1 West Ham. Pete Chapman 3-1 West Ham. Lawrence is saying 3-2 West Ham. Oliver Lee saying we've got to get some silverware this season. Trev Tube 3-2 to us, our favourite scoreline. Desmond again from Hammerwell. We lose on penalties 3-1 West Ham. Dan Parma's Atalanta is a strong team, 2-1 to them. Bring on Lenny, she will not come on. Lee Vasallo 4-2 West Ham. We are massive. Let's kick on with our season. 1H from P-Gads. Vinay saying 3-0 West Ham. Antonio 2 by Benny. Danny Jackson 2-1 West Ham. Gareth Thomas. Lanzini reminds me of Hoddle in the holding role. He could really have an impact this year. He really, really could, mate. It's going to be an exciting game. Matt's going to make his decision last minute tomorrow whether or not he is going to go to the game. If not, you'll join me for the match day live. As it stands, we don't know how we're going to watch it, but we will make sure we can find it and watch it. And we'll bring you some content, worst case scenario, tomorrow on the match day live. Matt, anything else you want to add before we head?
Oh,
Makes the last pre-season preview.
Last pre-season.
And then we officially go into the crazy season.
Mate, football's back. Fans are back.
Yep.
People back in the stadiums. Football's
Absolutely.
back.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely, mate. And listen, I'm going to the Newcastle game next week. Matt, I know you're not. So, Matt, guess what?
What?
You're holding the torch, mate.
Me on my own.
You are going to be holding your torch, so don't you worry.
Stell's going.
Yeah, Stell is going.
Yeah.
And guess who else is going?
Who?
Little Freddie.
Oh, is he?
So Freddie, my son, who's 5, is going to his first West Ham game ever, and it's an away game. It's an away day. I really wanted to make it a home game, however, he is going to away game, so I cannot wait to take him to that. I told him tonight for the first time, and he was absolutely buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. So yeah, it's gonna be good. But anyway, Matt will also be bringing you the match day live, Matt, because that's what you do. But we're not going to say anything as such. But Matt, you also know what some big news coming next week for West Ham Irons United. We're not going to say anything, but there is big news coming for West Ham Irons United next week. So please keep an eye on the channel. If you are watching, hit that thumbs up. Please hit that thumbs up. It helps push our channel into the algorithm. Of course, go across and subscribe to our channel. It's really, really helpful. And leave comments if you can as well. And that would be fantastic. And hopefully, maybe we're going to be coming on to do a late show in the next couple of hours. So keep an eye on the channel and we'll let you know what's going to happen. Anyway, yes, I know it is. Poor kid. Loads of years of hurt ahead. But listen, I'm going to do what my dad done to me. So I'm going to do the same to Freddie. Anyway, thanks for watching. He's been Matt. I'm Anton. West Ham United. Come on, you Irons.